Welcome, everybody. I'm so glad you are with us today. Steve DeVal from Thor Motor Coach. On the other side of your screen, Adam Odell. Adam, thanks for being with us today. I appreciate you being here. And we have a lot of people tuning in today. We have, we have Kent and we have Gary from Pennsylvania and Arlington RV in East Greenwich, Rhode Island. So a lot of people ready for this. You ready to roll, Adam?
I am
awesome. So as we get into our Class C, we're going to be talking four wins today. One of the questions that I know you get a lot, and we'll go ahead and throw that out there. When people are looking, whether it's somebody first time or maybe thinking about trading up or trading down, why don't you kind of get into some of the differences people are going to get into? Let's talk Class C over Class A motorhomes.
Okay, yeah, that's a great question, actually. I think that Class A's get so much of the hype. They're bigger, they're taller, they're wider. The rock stars use them. They get all the glitz and glamour. When I go to shows and stuff, it's like I'm the Class C guy, right? But a lot of times people don't think about certain things. Like, number one, okay, the difference between a C over an A, I mean, the biggest thing to me is going to be safety. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but when you talk about the E-Series chassis inside of the Ford, it actually still retains the airbags from the factory on the passenger and the driver's side. So in case of a head-on collision or an impact, they're going to deploy, right? Your Class A's aren't going to have that. And I think that's a small thing that people tend to overlook because who thinks about that, But it's truly a huge difference between an A and a C. I mean, number two, convenience and like maintenance, right? For instance, so let's say you're traveling down the road, you're on a trip, and you and your family are just driving along, and out of nowhere, a rock hits your windshield. What's going to happen? It's going to break, right? It's going to crack, right? If you're in a Class A, that windshield is custom made for that coach. If you're in a Class C, you literally could go to any Ford, let's say most Ford dealerships today, even during COVID, and get that windshield. That's a huge, huge thing because it's not going to stop your camping trip. You're not going to put a hiccup in your entire vacation because of something like that, right? So that's another benefit of having a Class C over a Class A.
Right.
And also brakes, anything, brakes, oil changes, routine maintenance, you name it, they don't have to necessarily have a lift to service a Class C.
And let's talk about one of the other things I know that people really enjoy about the Class C's over the Class A is it feels more like getting into their vehicle.
Yeah, it does. And a big part of that is because you've got more entry exit points. So like a Class A, typically you're not going to have a driver door, right? I mean, there are rare occasions where there are some, but a majority are not going to have a driver door. Whereas a Class C, you're going to have a driver and a passenger door, right? So when you get in there and you sit down, it's all the same. I mean, from the back of the seats up, that's all OEM. We don't really change any of that. I mean, we jigsaw out the roof. That's about it. Maybe change the radio, but for the most part, that's all OEM. And that is just like a van from a Ford. I mean, that's why it feels so comfortable and so normal because essentially it is. It's very common.
And so as we go through our presentation today, everybody who is there on the right-hand side, if you're watching and you have a question for Adam, we're going to be getting to your questions a little bit later on. Go to the Ask a Question tab. It's right at the bottom of your screen. You can click on that, throw your question in there. We already have some queued up and ready to go. We're going to get to those here very soon. And if you're over in the chat column, hit the plus button and you can ask a question there. Simply ask a question and it will go right to our queue. And we're going to get back into our four wins. And this is right what I wanted to talk about because you had talked about that chassis. And this is a huge change for 2021. Ford has changed that a number of their chassis. So talk about the changes coming to our 450 chassis here.
There's an old saying, there's no replacement for displacement, right? And so since 1997-ish, Ford came out with the V10, 6.8 V10, tried and true until today. I mean, that engine's bulletproof, right? However, now we're kind of changing it from a V10 down to a V8. And what Ford has done is up the liters to 7.3 from a 6.8, right? Therefore, increasing the horsepower and increasing the torque while maintaining a lower RPM. So essentially, they're saying that you're going to get better fuel economy based upon what this new engine can do and retain the same type of towing capacity as before. So, I have not had a lot of time with one of these because of what's been going on, but I'm thoroughly excited and I can't wait to get in and actually, go down the road, take it 40, 50, 60 miles to really feel the difference. However, I know it sounds great. There's a lot of hype about it. I know all of us at Thor were very excited for the change.
And one of the other things too, I think, with this is that it will probably be a little bit quieter.
It could be. It could
Yeah.
be. Typically, though, when you increase the
Mhm.
liters, it's going to be a tad bit louder,
Mhm.
okay, because it's a V8 and the liters are higher.
Right.
But I mean, more or less, will it be a ton louder, a ton quieter?
Yeah.
Probably
We don't
not.
know.
I mean,
We don't know. But just having that gain in horsepower and torque, especially when
right.
you're in one of, our 31 footers and you are
Yeah.
in the city, or you're getting onto your favorite highway, you're going to have that power there. Because I know they have redesigned these to come on at a fairly low RPM. You're going to have
Yeah.
that if you
Yeah.
need. In merging into traffic isn't going to be an issue, or getting where you need to go.
Correct. Correct. So yeah, we're excited about it though. I'm looking
All
forward to
right.
driving.
And as we now, do you know with this new chassis, because I know on our F53 products that it changed some of the dash layout. Is it going to have a different dash and steering wheel and a
It
different
is.
look and
Yeah.
feel inside?
It is. Basically, it's going to be more like a new Ford, okay?
Okay.
Different steering wheel, more of a digital dash. It's going to be more intuitive, more ergonomic. It looks fantastic. The wheel feels different. So it's just going to be updated. I mean, because it needed that, right? I
Yeah.
mean, that chassis has been around since 1997, right? That's a long time ago,
Yeah.
especially in the world of automotives, So it was time. But yeah, I have seen, touched, felt, and experienced inside of it, and it's very nice. Very,
Nice.
very nice.
Nice. I have not. So that's good to hear. Something else we can get on our Forns product. You can also get this on a Chevy chassis.
Yeah.
So talk about talk about the Chevy specs for us here.
Chevy's it's a heck of a chassis. I mean, it's a 6.0 V8 Vortec. You've got 341 horsepower, 373 foot-pounds of torque. I mean, the benefit of the Chevy, okay, there's a couple things. Number one, you tend to have some people who really, really love and breathe and die Chevy, right? So we give them that opportunity. And truthfully, it's all about variety. If we just have one chassis, it's not giving the customer or our dealers variety, right? So when Chevy has this, it just gives a different flavor to it. And also in this particular one, there's going to be a little bit more leg room than the Ford side. So if you're looking for a little bit more leg room, I mean, in my experience, I have seen that the Chevys do provide more leg room than the traditional Fords. But they're both great chassis. You can't go wrong with either one of them. And I guess it just kind of depends on what model you want, because we don't offer the Chevy in every single model. Okay. But we do offer the Ford in every model. So again, if you're looking for a different type of variety, that's the way to go.
All right. And as we move on,
Yeah.
something else we can get it on. We got
Of
Chevy, we
course.
got Ford, and we have Mercedes for those interested in our Sprinter cabs. And this is where you're going to get a little bit shorter of a product, but I have spent a lot of time behind these Sprinters they drive really nice, because I think one of the things too, you get that 325 pound-feet of torque. And I think people, and I know you are a huge car guy, people just get so caught up in the horsepower rating, and in a vehicle like this, it's not about going fast anyway. But these Sprinters are phenomenal.
Right. I have taken probably 3 to 5 different demo trips over the past 8 years with the Sprinter, and I can tell you that if I were to personally probably get one, like as far as the actual driving experience goes, this is probably the most comfortable one that I've driven. It just is. Like you said, when you're going down the road, it's very, very simple. Literally, you can 2-finger drive it. You put your elbows up and you 2-finger drive it, and it's extremely smooth. It's comfortable. There's more power than you ever need, right? And like you said, it doesn't matter about the horsepower. The horsepower just gets you from 0 to 60, right? Torque is really what matters, and that's the beauty of this. And not to mention the fact that this is going to get approximately, from what our customers say, 15 to 18 miles per gallon. You're not going to get that on a Ford or a Chevy, I promise you. So there's that side of it too. Maneuverability, comfort. I mean, it's a heck of a chassis. Great.
Now, the one thing on the Sprinter though is your towing capacity is going to be down a little bit.
It is, and that is, it's just part of it. With the lower horsepower, and even though it does have a little bit more torque, it's just not quite as big of an engine as the V8, the V10s, and that kind of thing. I mean, it is a V6 turbo diesel. It's 3.0. So yeah, you will be dramatically decreased because of that. But a lot of times you don't really need to tow anything because of the maneuverability. It's so small. I mean, you truly can almost go anywhere with this thing. I mean, so that's one reason why I don't think it really matters about the towing capacity. A lot of people, my customers that I've dealt with in the past, I don't really hear a lot of people towing stuff with Sprinters. I could be wrong, but from my experience, I don't really get that objection very often. I'm not sure what you're hearing, but as far as me, no.
Yeah, a lot of times people will throw their bike rack on the back, the
That's true.
electric bicycles, or and maybe it's a sport touring motorcycle or something. But yeah, they're that's the great thing about the Four Winds. I mean, you can get it in a number of chassis, you can get a number of floor plans, which we'll talk about. But one of the things, Adam, here, no matter whether you're picking a Chevy, a Ford, or a Mercedes, is they are all upfitted for us by Mor-Ryde with the true flat floor foundation. I know you've spent a lot of time over there at Mor-Ryde, and why don't you kind of take us through how this works, what we do to it, and how this sets a Four Winds apart from other Class C motorhomes in the market, because the Four Winds is America's #1 selling Class C.
It is, and it has been for quite some time, and we plan on it being for quite some time. So the biggest difference with our Mor-Ryde versus another company is going to be the fact that we have 15 to 18 degree engineers on staff every single day, prepping, planning, designing, different type of templates or chassis upfits for every specific model we build. We don't use a generic template. There is another way to build a motorhome where you have a generic RV template, you apply it to every single motorhome, and you go down the road. We don't do that, not even close. I mean, every model that we have is specifically designed to that floor plan: 28Z, 27R, a 22B, 31W. I mean, even our other brands, Challengers, Outlaws, Miramars, you name it. It's the same way for every single thing we build. And I think that kind of attention to detail is what separates us from everybody else. It just does.
And what does Mor-Ryde, here we go, as we talk through the hidden value, and I know this is one of the things when we're out at the shows, which, let's cross our fingers, we get to some great shows.
No kidding.
Well, I can't,
I'm ready, man.
I can't wait. I love show season.
Me too.
And, people will look at the exteriors and the interiors, and that is all important. But one of the things that is extremely important, you can't forget about the things you do not see. So walk us through the things you do not see, but make a major difference for us on our Four Winds products.
Hey, Tom, can you go to the next slide? Is that possible? Yeah, okay. So one of the biggest things that we do is going to be that every single model we upfit, whether it be a 22E, a 31, or whatever's out there, right? Okay, we guarantee the parameter of the truss to be less than 1/8 of an inch difference from front to back. So essentially guaranteeing a flat and true floor, right? That is incredible. The tolerance that it takes to get that kind of floor or chassis is just unreal, right? Because this is the foundation. It's the single most important part of your motorhome. It's like your house, right? If you build on let's say a crappy foundation, what kind of home can you possibly build? Even if it's the best home in the world, eventually what's going to happen?
Fall apart.
It's going to fall apart, right? So we build it right from the ground up. We spend so much time, so much effort, so much money, so much attention to what you can't see, which is why I call it hidden value. Because this thing alone, if you don't talk about it, it becomes lost value, right? And we want our consumers, dealerships, everybody who's even watching this to understand how they are made and what sets us apart. And this alone right here is incredible to have your chassis to be 1/8 of an inch difference from front to back. I mean, that ensures us that our home that we put on top of it will be extremely tight. The tolerances are a lot lower. I mean, it's going to be less likely to have a window sill pop out or a crack in the sidewall or a water heater coming out. We do this the right way from the ground up because we want to protect our investment. And this alone is just incredibly huge. So I encourage everybody to talk about that. It's very powerful, but it's all accurate. It's just how we do things. And every model that we build,
Yeah, I mean, and it goes on to be beyond just the trussing and the welds and the way they do it. I mean, drive shaft balancing, because I know when you're you can't just take your drive shaft down to the corner mechanic and have somebody balance it. I mean, it has to be done, it has to be approved, and talk about why that is important, especially as you're getting into our 31E or our 31 footers.
Sure. Well, so when we build a motorhome, we buy our chassis from Ford, Chevy, etc. And in order to create the 31 footer, we have to essentially cut the chassis and extend it, right? We have to stretch it. It's an upfit, right? So Mor-Ryde, being a quality vehicle modifier, they upfit all of our chassis for us, right? When you do that, when you extend the chassis, you have to add a drive shaft. Because if you look on that picture there, that's a 3 version of it, but we have the 2 version of that, but you can't just use one drive shaft, right? The beauty of what you're looking at right there is that they balance all their drive shafts as a one-piece assembly. The benefit of that is it gives you less road noise on the road, and less vibration when driving. I mean, the tolerance again is extremely tight, whereas other manufacturers are going to take that same drive shaft and they're going to balance them one at a time. The problem with that is it will never be as true as what Mor-Ryde does. There's no way. And any type of vibration you get, what's that do inside? It annoys the crap out of you, you know?
Yeah.
And it vibrates, you know, and that's, you can't really fix that. It's difficult. So them doing it the right way with this machine is incredible. And actually that guy right there in the green shirt, he's been there for like 15 years. He's still there today, which is another great thing about Mor-Ryde, right? Their tenure of their people is extremely high. They all know what they're doing because they do the same thing every single day. That's why we love Mor-Ryde. I'm extremely proud of how they do things, how we do things, and the partnership between us is just incredible. You know, I couldn't ask for anything better.
And they've built a great suspension system for us this year that we're going to be talking about here. And as we let's get into it here, because we got a question coming up here. I saw somebody asked in advance, but let's talk about the new smooth ride suspension and how this works, because this is really a great way to get a smoother ride, a better ride, more travel. Walk us through what this is and how this is going to be a huge benefit in our Class C motorhomes.
So this is something that we're doing now for the 21 season. It's going to be on all 31 footers. Okay. And basically what this system is designed to do, it lowers the natural frequency of the spring rate. Okay. So it's the same thing that they use on all their high-end transit stuff. It's the same type of system. It's also the only system that we have that actually any RV company makes that makes the ride smoother and not stiffer. That's a big deal. There are other brands out there that use ride right suspension, air bags, if you want to call it that. People who use Hellwig helper springs, that type of thing. All of those additions are designed to make the ride stiffer, not smoother. We are the only ones, period, right now, to the best of my knowledge, that have a ride design now to make it smoother. I'm extremely excited about this. This was probably the single greatest thing that they said they were doing, and I was kind of part of this, you know, going alongside this with John and Joel, and I'm extremely pumped. I cannot wait to get on the road with one of these once all this passes. But again, it's the only one out there that's going to make it smoother, and I'm pumped about it, man. I honestly cannot wait to get my hands on that and go down the road.
You and I were in the same when Mor-Ryde came out and did a little presentation for us. It's really kind of a neat thing to see, and one of the benefits of this, and it says it right there, is other companies are using the airbags. I mean, when it comes time to, you know, if you're putting a lot of miles on this, and shocks and everything, they have to be replaced. But you're also, from a cost benefit, not only getting a smoother ride, you don't have to replace those expensive airbags. Correct.
And that's the thing, is that to replace one of those, I have no clue what that would cost. But I know for a fact it would be a fraction of what, you know, this would be a fraction of what that would cost. I can assure you of that. And I mean, this is tried and true for them. I mean, they've been using this a long time. I mean, I remember what Jack told us. He said that this design, I mean, the inception was like early 90s. So this has been around in a very, very long time. However, it's very expensive, though. The actual system itself to install is very, very expensive. That's why we've waited so long to do it. You know, but it's at the point now where we feel like it's necessary because of how much attention we have given it, you know, with the Mor-Ryde story. Therefore, other brands have kind of come around to try to, you know, pitch their story about it. Whereas this one here, though, is the only one that makes it smoother, not stiffer. So that's a huge benefit.
Well, and you read through there, you know, it's got the 4 inches of suspension travel, which is, I'm going over bumpy roads. I mean, it's really going to smooth that out. So like you, I can't wait to get on the road and
again, and that's what I'm saying. Like it's all about making the ride smoother, right? These other companies, they just talk about what they add to it, but they don't tell you that it's only going to make it stiffer, and it does. You know, so we took a different route, a different approach, and I'm excited to get my hands on this and to move onward, upward, and most importantly, forward.
And then as you get into your campground and you're maybe going to do a little boondocking, this is one of the nice things that you get a standard gas generator on our Forens product. So that's a great deal there.
That's a huge deal. Yep. Everybody knows about those. That's a fantastic generator. I mean, it's the only one that we use across the board. I mean, what else is there, you know?
Yeah, I just fire it up and it's easy to go and dependable and reliable, runs right off your tank. Let's move on here, Tom. We got a lot of great stuff to talk about. I think this was a great addition. As I was reading through a number of different articles, when people choose a campground, one of the things that they look for is how good is the Wi-Fi? Do they have Wi-Fi? But with the
Right.
Wine Guard, Adam, you don't need to look for a campground that has Wi-Fi because you can
You
create your
don't.
own 4G hotspot wherever you are.
Right. And that's what everybody's going to nowadays, right? Everybody's going to like the smart TVs and the Netflix and chill, if you want to call it that, or they're using their video gaming system or whatever, I guess technology platform you want to use. This is what it's based upon, right? I don't even have cable in my house anymore. How about you? You have cable?
No, I do not.
I don't either. I mean, I think cable, I'm sure it has its purpose, but this here is a mobile hotspot and it's a good one, right? It's a great one. And so, I mean, to have that basically truly does make you self-sufficient. I mean, it's fully self-contained with your entertainment and your living. I mean, what more could you ask for?
Yeah, it's great. And if you do want Wi-Fi, I think it's got like a 1.5 mile range or something like that.
Yeah,
So it's a phenomenal system.
Yep.
As we move on to our next slide, let's talk about this. I think this is something really important that we have this on all of our buildings. Nobody will build them better, and that's absolutely true. I mean, you're in the plants, you're with the people who put these together, who went back to work at some of our plants the other day, and it's true. Nobody will build them better.
That's right. So I don't know the exact date, maybe a little bit over a year and a half ago, we hired a gentleman by the name of Jeff Newport, and he now is basically the operating officer of the service end of it. Okay. And what he has done is just phenomenal. I know for a fact that him implementing his new system, which I have personally seen and witnessed, the changes that have been made is just incredible. He implemented a system called Operation X, OpX they call it, right? And I know for a fact when I go in there and look at this, it's on every single whiteboard in the conference room of every single plant that we have, and it's exactly the same in every single plant we have, right? So the infrastructure that he put together and implemented the system, it makes it universal where any plant manager can basically go from one plant to the next plant to the next plant. Walk in, look at this system on the board, and immediately tell what's going on, what's needed, what's missing, what needs to be added, etc. Right? It's basically a flawless system. It's beautiful. You know what I mean? And it's given, I know myself personally, the confidence to own this statement on your screen right now because it is in every single office and every single building. It's on almost all of our emails from Jeff Newport. Thor Motor Coach will produce the highest quality vehicles. Nobody will build them better. That's a big statement, right?
It is. And we invite people when we open back up and you are in the area and we start doing tours again, which will hopefully be soon. I mean, come in and see for yourself. You can actually come in and watch the Four Winds being built online. And when they do build them, they build a number of floor plans. So as we move on, Tom, we got a lot of floor plans here to talk about. I know you have a couple of different ones because gosh, there's what, 14 Four Winds floor plans now, I think. Right. I think it's 14. And there are some that are so unique to the market. So kind of run through a lot of some of the features that we're going to find on some of your more unique floor plans, because I know you're a big fan of the 27R.
I do. I love the 27R. Yep. 22B, the 27R. I mean, which one do you want to go over first?
This is your show. You run through. This is all you. This is all you. You talk about what floor plans you want to talk about and some of the features and stuff we'll find on these.
The 22E right here, the great thing about this model here, it is a corner bed, corner bath, right? And traditionally, corner bed, corner baths, you can't walk around the bed. However, this bed here, why it's so nice is that it's 80 inches long. I mean, most beds are not that long, right? So this having an 80-inch bed actually makes it ideal for someone taller, right? Which is very, very nice. All-in-one bathroom, you have your dinette. It's a very small, unique unit. I mean, you can basically go anywhere you want to go with this, right? It's been around a very, very long time, and it's one of our tried and true models. I mean, it's just like I talked to you earlier about the 28Z. Go to the 28Z, Tom. The 28Z is one of my favorites, and the reason why I call it a staple. This is your bread and butter. It just is, right? Turns are great on it. It's been doing very well in the marketplace. I mean, you've got one slide, you have a post seating, you have a walk around bed, okay? You have all the pass-through storage on the outside, generator, awning, and in the dinette area, I'm sorry, the sofa area, you can implement optional theater seatings if you want, right? Because the TV is right across from that where the Dream dinette shows, right? The 28Z, in my opinion, okay, is probably, what do you want to call it? It's like an iconic classic. You know what I mean? It's like the old 911s and the Submariners. Yeah. This is your icons, right? This is an icon to me. It just is. I would personally buy a 28Z. I love this model. There's
Yeah,
not, it's almost like the, not too big, not too small. It's overall probably one of the most well-versed floor plans we have, and one of the longest running too, for that particular reason.
one of the nice things too about this is a lot of people are really big fans of that north-south bed, especially when you're traveling down the road and, in the four winds, you may have kids with you. And if somebody needs to take a nap, that's real easy to get to.
And another thing is this bed here is so nice because it doesn't move. A lot of the newer models are coming out now where it's kind of a little deceiving because some companies will have a lower number as their model. However, it's a lot longer in actual feet. And the problem with their beds, they're running east and west. And when you put the slide in, you have to fold the bed up. Therefore, eliminating the chance that you can rest on your bed going down the road. And that's the whole benefit of a motorhome over a trailer, right? Is that you can actually use your motorhome going down the road. It doesn't take away from your vacation, right? So what's the point of that? This having the north-south bed that does not move, that's huge, huge.
So let's talk about some of your other standout floor plans here. I mean, they're all great and they're all unique in their own way. We have our 31B, which we just added. I really liked
this model.
Addition of the closet with the washer dryer combo prep on this. I think this is just a great layout in a Class C, because I know people have been asking, can you get it with washer dryer prep? Well, now you can.
Now you can, yeah. And the biggest thing with that is that it gives you the choice to do that, right? Because I know that we've said it for a long time that you don't necessarily need a washer dryer in a Class C. And while that may be true for a majority of folks, it ain't true for everybody. Nothing is true for everybody. So by, again, adding this variety in there and this option, or the standard, if you want to call it that, is just a huge deal because it gives them the option to do so. And having the bed across from it, it's in its own closet, which is a huge hang-up closet and a walk-in closet. You'll have a nice mirror in there, a full-length mirror, which is great. You'll have lights. I mean, it's truly a full walk-in closet in a 31-foot Class C with a split bathroom, which is also very cool. And it's got the opposed seating again, right? Sofa across from the actual dinette. So that's another big thing because you have that area in the middle where you can, hang out, you can talk, you and your family can get together. And that's your conversation area right there in the middle, which is huge. This is a great model. It's one of our newer ones, but it's fantastic.
Yep. We also have the bunkhouse model. I was out for a week last year. I went up to Sleeping Bear Dunes in a 31E. Man, it was a great time. Yeah, it was great. And the nice thing is,
that's cool.
Even though it's a 31-footer, and I don't tow behind it. Whenever I go out, we use it as our main vehicle. And what was great was we were in the park. We said, hey, we're going to go up Sleeping Bear Dunes. They just unconnected. You pull it right into where their RV park lot is, small enough to fit in wherever. And this is one of the great things about our products. We got tired from biking or hiking the dunes. We came back and Adam, everything you need is here, a bathroom and the kitchen. Let's talk about because the kitchen is well equipped. I mean, we sat there and made our meals.
If you can show the stovetop, can you see that? And there you go. Okay, so what you're looking at there is one of the only induction cooktops, to the best of my knowledge, that is in any Class C period. Not only do you have an induction cooktop, but you also have 2 gas burners. So you have gas and induction in the same unit. That's incredible. I don't have that in my house. I don't have that where I am right now. I'm not kidding, man. It's incredible. And I know from personal experience, when I drive these on demos, I took a 31-footer last year, and that stovetop is so secure and set that it does not rattle. A lot of problems with motorhomes going down the road is that stuff rattles inside, right? And a lot of times it's the oven, whether it be because metal on metal or the glass top or whatever it may be. This one is quiet as a mouse. It's so strong and structured, it does not make any noise. Plus you've got your, go back, Tom. You've got your stainless steel sink, okay, with no divider. Okay, and in previous years we had a divider in the sink, and the problem is that the sink is only a certain size, right? And if you put a divider in, while it may look good, it's not functional. Because the problem is that you can't put a pot and pan in a half divided sink that's that size. So we took that out, we added this, and it's just much more usable and much more open for the customer.
We got the you need a little more space.
And if you see how big the windows are too, underneath the microwave, you can go back one more. Actually, because that's actually one of the new changes that we've got for 21, is that we've added the window underneath the microwave, where in previous years, the window there would be a backsplash. So what we did, we took the backsplash out, put a bigger window there, it opened it up and just made it much more viewable. And it's beautiful. You know,
And,
you need light in your kitchen for sure.
and what we're looking at is actually one of the new wood for 2021. This is the new wood. I believe this is our new product.
That is the maple wood, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is the new wood. You can tell because it has an undertone hint of gray in it, whereas last year it kind of had a yellowy gold look.
And
that makes sense.
also it comes in our home collection as well. Tom, we got some video of that. We got pantries, we got storage. We never ever will short you on storage in any of our products, no matter what you buy. I think this look, I think the design team just knocked this out of the park. This is just absolutely gorgeous.
What you're looking at here, this was actually one of the first ones that we did. This is my personal video that I did, and this is in a 24F. But what I want to point out, it's the attention to detail. Okay, we're not the first people to ever put white wood in a motorhome. We're not. However, in my opinion, I think we did it the best. And here's why. Not only is the wood not a true like white, it almost has like it's like an off cream, right? It gives it a nice warm appeal instead of like that cold, you know, European vibe. Okay. And the second thing is, and I'm not sure, I think it was Joel who did this, but the black hardware that you see, okay, with the faucet, with the handles, the pulls. Do you see how they're all black? The beauty of that is that it matches the interior window trim by default, because the interior window trim on all models is black, right? But if they were to put silver or chrome, it would clash. But I'm telling you, it is freaking ridiculous inside. It is awesome because it's so cohesive, Tom, that it looks like we built the windows for this coach. And you can't get around windows. You got to have windows. Right? We don't make the windows, but they have black trim and it matches the black hardware. Like, it's just on point. It is beautiful.
Yeah, so, it really is gorgeous. It is absolutely stunning. It is stunning. We got new exteriors too. Here we go. I love this. I love the white. I love the blue. Let's talk about what we have from a color standpoint on the outside, because I think this looks great.
Yeah, so that's the cool blue. And the cool blue now is going to be standard on the 4-1s model. You have also a firecracker red, so you have a red or a blue. We no longer offer the HD Max. We went back to the white because the white just, you know, it holds up extremely well. It looks clean. It's refreshed. It's a beautiful looking white matched with the graphics, and it just pops. You know, it is awesome. I know initially we were like, oh no, don't take away that. But you know, when you look at this again in person, you sit back and you're like, dang, that does look good. You know, it's sharp. And it holds up well, and the front cap is going to be the same way. Nothing will fade, nothing will change color. It's just a beautiful, seamless look. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, loaded on the outside. I like how we have the white roof air conditioners now that are up there. That looks great. Our awning, outside storage on some of these units. The amount of stuff, Adam, you can fit in here is unbelievable.
It is. You know, and that's going to be one of the biggest selling points is going to be our storage, because not only do we have a lot of storage, but it's all finished out too, right? We don't have any type of exposed piping or hardware or anything that can look like it's not finished, for a couple reasons. Number one, we want it to look clean, but we also don't want anything to happen if something's exposed, right? Now, we also offer this in a couple different choices. Okay, we also have our partial paint and a 31-footer and the full body paint. Okay, so those are 2 options as well if you don't want to go with the white.
So what are some of the other options that we may not have photos of because we weren't able to obviously get in to shoot all of these before we shut down because of COVID? What are some of the other new features people can expect to see on the 4-Winds this year?
So a couple, well, like on the other photo there, we had the outside entertainment center, which was nice. Okay, so on the outside, you can option in that TV, which has its own sound bar. You can pull it out and adjust it. It will move if you choose to, right? That's not standard. That's definitely an option for sure. You're also going to have the side vision cameras on the mirrors. So if you decide that you want that, that's where it will go. Flip on your turn signal, whatever side you go to, the camera comes on and it shoots a beam down the blind spot, okay, which is also kind of cool. That's going to be the awning there. That's going to be standard for sure. But a couple other options that we didn't, I'd say the biggest one, Tom and Steve, is that it's probably going to be the solar panel prep and the solar panel. That's going to be one of the biggest differences, is going to be that part. So every model will be prepped for it. Okay, it'll have its own module down below. It'll already have the receptant on top. It's going to be a plug and play system, right? It's 100 watt or 110 watt, whatever it was. And that solar panel is designed to keep your house battery charged, right? That's going to be probably the biggest one that we have is going to be that one. Because I mean, with all the changes made from 20 or 19 to 20 and then 20 to 21, there's not a ton of changes. I mean, I know they put a lot of focus on the white wood, which we're all just extremely pumped about. And we put a lot of thought and process into our new SRS system with our chassis and the ride. That was another big thing. You can't reinvent the wheel every time. You got to kind of take it in pieces. And I will give them credit for this. Every May we get together and we have our meeting about what we'd like to see, what we want to delete, etc. And those were two things that we wanted. We wanted a different ride system and we wanted solar panels. And you know what? We got it. So those two things are enormous, and they're going to bring a lot of value to the marketplace with this product, and we're looking forward to it. We really are.
All right. And as we move on to some questions here, I know we got quite a few questions that came in, and we'll start at the top here. When will we start seeing the new 7.3 being offered? Now.
It is it's in production, and it is being offered, and it is out. There have already been some shipped, so it's in the marketplace.
All right. And does that have the 10-speed transmission from Ford, or is it still a 6?
It's 6. Okay. It is 6. Yep.
All right. Let's see. We were using the premium 350 horsepower version. Oh, here we go. Let's talk. We've talked about this, Kent. The airbag helper springs. We got our smooth ride suspension, and we've talked about that. Go back in there and to the slideshow. We'll mark that because that's a great addition.
This is pretty simple.
Here we go.
Yeah. Okay. So when you have that system, that system is designed to make the ride stiffer for the most part, right? You have to also manually adjust it based upon what you have in or what you're towing on the coach, right? So in order to get that correct every time, you have to literally take an air nozzle, deflate it or inflate it to get the height and to get the comfort level where you want it. And truthfully, it's kind of redundant, right? Whereas our system right here, it's designed because of the 4 inches of extra travel, right? It's designed to make it smoother, not stiffer. You do not have to adjust this. There is no adjustment. It's done. It's automatically done, right? So I'm telling you right now, this is the future. The SRS is. I'm pumped about it. No one's going to be able to touch this. They're not.
All right. And the question from Kent, let's talk about what non-slide out floor plans are there, and are there plans for additional non-slide out floor plans?
22E, does he have all of them up?
Yeah, he's got Tom's got them up here. It's the EU?
22E. Yeah, 23U and 28A.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you had that one, but it's in the marketplace.
All right.
And as of right now, to add another one, I don't think it's basically a Z without a slide. But I don't think I have not heard of another one that they're working on. There could be, Steve. I don't know though.
Okay.
They have not informed me on that.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of that stuff kind of goes on behind scenes, and we get them after they're all done. We're like, ha, look at that. Skylight. Will and this is maybe another engineering question. Adding a skylight over the cab, I think, is something that we don't now, but I think it's something to talk about with our.
You mean as far as like a window in the front cab?
The question is, will an Omni magnitude style cab over large skylight be offered?
Oh yeah, no, not in the Chateau and Four Winds. No. Now that's offered in the Quantum. It's not the same thing, but I know there's a window there. So I believe the magnitude Omni, it's isn't motorized, the screen and all that. Yeah. So to keep things competitive, Steve, we can't really put that kind of engineering or money along with all the rest of the stuff that we're doing to stay competitive in the marketplace. We don't want to price ourselves too high, because then, I mean, they're going to go to another unit like a Magnitude or Omni or a Class A. We have to be competitive with what we're doing.
All right.
But great question.
Question here. Another brand offers 4-season capability with dual pane windows. Is that available? So let's talk about four. Okay, let's talk about, because people get that all the time in all of our brands.
Yep.
four season camping in a 4-winds. I think it can be done, but I think you have to be really careful about
You
temperature
do.
and
You
tanks
do.
and all of that.
The fact is, and I'll put this on record right now, is that there is no true 4-season anything. 2 years ago, my house froze, right? And I'm sure there are people out there where their house pipes have frozen from whatever reason. That being said, it doesn't make a motorhome, it doesn't make it impossible for a motorhome to freeze. Okay. However, there are things that you can do to eliminate and lower the chances of that. Yes, for sure. Now, our opinion in a Class C motorhome is that dual thermal pane windows, it's not one of them. Here's why. You can't dual thermal pane the front windshield and the 2 windows in the cab. If every window is dual thermal pane, but yet the whole front of the coach isn't, what kind of sense does that make? You know what I mean? So that's something you got to think about, is that we can't dual thermal pane the front. You can't do that, right? However, we do offer holding heat pads. Okay, so your tanks are going to be heated by heat pads. All right, they're 12 volts on the black and the gray tank. The beauty of that is that you can turn it on or off at your demand. Yeah, you're not wasting, propane by forcing heat into a compartment when it's not necessary. I tell the story all the time that if it's 45 degrees outside or 40, hell, even 35, and your family is cold and you flip on your furnace, if you have a heated enclosed holding tank with forced air in there, you are wasting money because water won't freeze at 35 degrees, right?
Yep.
It can't. That's not physics. It takes 32, right? So essentially you're wasting money into that compartment. Whereas 12-volt heat pads, they're 12 volt and they're on demand at your discretion. So in our opinion, it's a more effective and efficient way to heat a coach.
All right. Question from Gary. He said, and this is, I know you said this in the Chevys, and I don't have enough time. I haven't seen one of the new Fords yet. Is there more legroom on the passenger side of the new Ford chassis?
From what I had been told and the one that I saw, it didn't seem to me that the inside really changed beyond the dash, steering wheel, radio, that kind of thing. So just taking a guess and not being 100% on this, I'd say it's the same, right, as it was in the other one. I don't know because I haven't measured it, and I've only been in one of them, but it didn't appear to be any different. So I would assume that the Chevy would still have more on that side.
Okay. Another question coming in. Are there Sprinter-based non-slide-out floor plans?
Nope. Not that we have. No,
okay.
sir.
And is there a Sprinter 4x4 option?
No. Not with 4-1 Chateau.
All right. Here we go. Let's see. Gary's asking, does the standard solar controller support additional solar panels beyond 110 watts, and are additional solar panels plug and play? So let's talk about that, because we do set everything up with EGS strapping up there, so you can plug and play, really. So let's talk about how the solar works on this and adding panels.
Yeah, this being new, and from what I've been told, I know for a fact that you can hook up 2, right? And I believe you can do 3 to that. I don't think you can do any more. Okay, I know that you can do 2. I believe you can do 3. But literally, it's just plug and play. There are 2 prongs up there. You take the panel, you plug it in, and the other one goes right behind it. Okay, this is what I've seen pictures, and I've been told this. And I have not done this myself, so we'll have to get that question answered if 3 can go on the same circuit, if you want to call it that. But I know 2 can.
All right, and let's see. This is was answered by. It's an engine question. GM 6.6 liter V8 engine. Is that going to replacing anytime soon the GM 6 liter gas engine?
As far as we know, I don't think so. We haven't heard a rumor about it. So typically you hear stuff like with the Ford V8s coming around. We heard about that a long time ago. I haven't heard a single rumor about this. So that being said, right now, I would say no. But again, that could change. And maybe down the road they may want to implement it. I don't know. It just probably would depend on if Chevy stopped making the 6.0, and that was our only choice. But right now, we don't know.
All right. What about, and this is a question we get on all of our models here, and it's, you have it with Tesla, you have it with a lot of products coming out there. What about an all electric option?
Man, I'll tell you right now, I mean, we have been asked that before, but right now that's so far in the future, right? That to make that system work in a Class C and still be, I guess, economically in the range, it possibly is probably, I don't know, 10, 15 years on the road. I don't know. Right now, it's not even a pipe dream. We're not even thinking about an all electric Class C, to my knowledge. So it's a great question. And I think that maybe one day it'll happen. But right now, I think that the technology is so, it's so new that it would be so expensive to do something on this level. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I know they've done that on diesels, like they're playing with that a little bit here and there. But on this level here, no, probably not for a while.
All right. Question about the washer and dryer hookup.
Mm-hmm.
Is it for a stackable? Is it installed from the factory? And what brands can you use? Because this is a combo unit, right?
It's a combo unit. Yep. So it will be a combination unit, washer and dryer in one. You cannot get it from us from the factory. And I don't know any brands. I'm sure you could, Google the brands of combination washer and dryers. I can get you the specs of the measurements that it takes. But I know there are some brands out there that do it, of course. I just don't know what they are offhand. But yeah, combination, not from the factory, and you can get it.
All right. And what are some of the other things? Is there anything else? I want to make sure we covered everything you want to talk about here.
Sure.
Is there anything else you want to add to the conversation?
There's so much out there. There's so much. Like my mind's like, oh man, what do I want to talk about next? It's just a fun. It's an interesting time right now because we're all working from home. So I know a lot of people are online and a lot of people are researching stuff and doing things. I think that can only mean a lot of good for everybody. Because what's happening now, I mean, I know that my influx in emails and my influx in, questions and internet traffic and all this for all of the dealerships that I handle has just been like, it's up 50 to 80%. I mean, the online traffic is incredible right now, So I know stuff like this is extremely important. And that's why I wish we had more questions. Do you have any more questions right now?
Let's see. We got, I'm going through here. Let's see. Here we go. Let's see. Since there is no diesel option between the Sprinter and the F550 off of our Super C products, would we consider the new GM 3-liter i5 or 6.6-liter Duramax turbo diesel V8 with the new 10-speed transmission?
Probably not. Again, to keep it economical, and I keep going back to that, but the beauty of a Class C, is that it's your everyday RV, right? This is going to be your family RV that you and your kids can take out and not break the bank. I mean, this coach here, I mean, that's the beauty of this coach, right? You can finance them for up to 20 years. The payments, in a lot of times, Steve, less than a car payment, right? Mm-hmm. So in order to keep all of that the way that it is and the way things have been going, it's just very difficult to keep throwing money in it or new stuff in it to make it that same way. And I know that it's funny because I know that my company, like the people that we deal with, have changed my mentality because I know as a new salesperson 8 years ago, and I know the other Class C guys are the same way. We want to keep adding. We want to add money to it because it makes it better. It makes it more fun, right? But as I've evolved, it's like, now how can we take money out of it though to keep it in that range, but yet to keep it more, more useful to the customer, but not to give that price point, where they can buy something else. I like it where it is now. I think this coach is, and that's why it is the #1 selling Class C in North America. I mean, it's the 4 wins.
Now, one thing that I want to mention to the people watching here is you said sales, and I know that's kind of how they reference you, but I don't want people to think you are like a car sales guy because that's not what you do. No. What Adam does, and maybe you can explain, is you're the guy who keeps these on dealers' lots and makes sure that the dealers and the sales guys are all up to snuff on the specs. So kind of talk about that because I don't want the misconception to be out there as, hey, come on down to Wacky Adam's house and Motorhomes. That's not. I
don't have a location.
That's not what you do. That's not what you do. So I don't want people to think that. So it's a lot more than that. And you deal with something 200 dealers.
Absolutely. And so, I'm the person between the dealership, right, and the retail consumer, or the dealership and the retail consumer, because we don't directly sell to the public, right? We never have, and that's not something that we do. So our job is to have dealership relationships, and we sell to dealerships across the country, of course, but I am a Northeast rep. So I handle states from Indiana down to Kentucky, over to Virginia, all the way up to Maine, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Ontario, and Quebec, right? So the accounts that I have and dealerships that I help maintain, I sell them and provide the product to them so then they can sell it to the retail public, right? Which is going to be in the end consumer. So what I do is I essentially will train, keep them up to speed on what's new, what's coming out, product development, inventory, you name it. I mean, anything that they need, that's why we're here. So we are basically their support on the motorhome side.
And Phil, comment from Phil says, hey, he met you in New Jersey last year. Nice to see you again. Appreciate your product knowledge. So yeah, I tell you, it is. And it is. It's one where, you know, and I don't know, Phil, if you met him at a dealership, you met him at a show, and I've seen you at show. It's great to be able to talk to the retail customers and to get their feedback and input and to kind of help them make a wise decision on the purchase, because it really is a major purchase on every level. So it's nice to have somebody who is as knowledgeable as you to be able to be out there and answering questions. Like this one from Kent. Is there an all electric option, meaning no propane with gas or diesel engine option? Kind of like what we have, I'm guessing, in our B-Van products.
Yeah, no, not yet. Not on the Class C side. Again, it's probably still too expensive yet. But I'm sure one day it'll probably happen. But in the near future, I'm guessing not. But yeah, again, we get a lot of those questions with like solar panels and electric and, you know, all the kind of the new things that are coming. But Class C's, if and when we get it, will be the last ones typically to get that kind of technology.
All right. Another question. Do Max Air vents have weather covers?
Well, okay, so we don't have a Max Air vent is going to be a brand name of a vent. So we don't have Max Air vents. We do have vents, yes. And yes, they can have fans. That's also an option. It's a 12-volt attic fan in the bedroom or the overhead cab. They'll have 4 speeds, but that's going to be it. And yes, there is a cover over it for sure. All right. But a Max Air vent is a brand.
All right. Here's a question. We may need to get into the engineering on this. And do you know, Adam, the insulation values for the floor walls and roof?
Yeah. The insulation in the sidewall is going to be 7. The floor is 9 and the roof is 11.
Look at that. And see, I told you this guy knows everything, right? The AC ducts, are they metal? Are the AC ducts metal or are they block foam?
They'll be block foam. Yep. Right. They will be block foam.
And 2 AC floor plans. I know that 31E we shown was a 2 AC floor plan. What other 2 AC floor plans do we have?
You're going to have the 31W, 31E, and 31B. And if they have the 2 AC option, it's going to be 2 11,000 BTU ACs, and it will also have the energy management system attached to it, right? So the benefit is that a Class C, okay, typically they're going to be 30 amp coaches, and all of ours are 30 amp. Most of them are, right? However, if you have 2 13.5 BTU ACs, it's going to draw more than 30 amps if you have 2 of them. The beauty of having 2 11,000 BTUs is that you can run both ACs at the same time, therefore giving you a total of 22,000 BTUs versus 1 13.5 or 15, right? In the event that you blow a breaker, because let's say that your wife turns on her hairdryer and you got both ACs going, and then the microwave pops on, whatever, the breaker will then shut off, and the energy management system will shut off one of the ACs and keep the fan going, but turn off, okay, the actual cooling unit of it. When that hairdryer goes off, it then comes back on, and therefore they're both cooling again. That's the beauty of the energy management system that's already attached to that, and that is also an option.
Nice. That I did not know about. Oh, let's see. John, if you're in, John, if you're watching now, you can go ahead and ask a question here. We're getting ready to wind it down. So we got a question. Go ahead and throw that over there. What other standout features or floor plans you want to talk about before we wrap things up, Adam?
I'd say the 27R. It's again one of our newer ones, but the 27R has picking up a lot of momentum over the past few months, and I think the reason being is because it's got a king bed in it, and it's got an enormous amount of counter space, right? Plus the opposed seating. The king bed, though, is just phenomenal because there are not a lot of king beds in the marketplace, right? Especially for a Class C, and in a unit that's a 27 foot, basically. So when you've got a king bed, you have opposed seating, 1 full wall slide, basically. I mean, this unit here, when you walk in, it's just enormous, right? Because that's what a full wall slide does, basically. It takes out that middle hourglass shape and gives you a hallway. So that with a king bed, it's a knockout, man. At first, it took off a little slower, but over the past few months, I mean, I can tell you right now, this thing has been hot, real hot.
And so let me ask you this. As you are out at the shows and in the dealers' lots and stuff, and you walk into other products, What is it? And obviously, is maybe a little biased question here, but
Yeah,
I know that you'll answer it honestly because you have
I
a very
will.
big passion for the product. What is it about the Four Winds and Chateau and our Class C products that really make them stand out in the world of Class C motorhomes across the board?
I think there's a couple things. That's a great question, though, Steve. I think number one is, you know, notoriety. You can recognize a Four Winds and Chateau name because they've been around since the early 90s. It's not a new name. I mean, they've been around a very, very long time, right? So that's the first. You never hear someone at a show saying, I've never heard of Four Winds or I never heard of a Chateau. That typically does not happen. I mean, on maybe a rare occasion it will, but not typically, right? So that's number one. Number two, I would say that when you walk into our coach on all of our Class Cs, we do not have a step on the outside of our coach. Have you noticed that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we don't have an extra step or two or three. The reason why is we have an integrated steel step well. Okay, the whole purpose of that, number one, is that we have a lower center of gravity with all of our coaches that we build. Our direct competition with other companies, I'm not going to say names, but when you walk into their Class C, okay, you walk up 3 steps and then 2 more steps to get in the coach. A lot of our competition is anywhere from 6 to 12 inches taller overall height on a competitive exact floor plan. The problem with that is that you have a higher wind resistance. The aerodynamics is dramatically decreased, right? Your fuel economy goes down. And the reason why some brands do this is because they don't want a hump in their floor, like where the bedroom is. They want to have a flat floor all the way out. So they raise their coach up, right? When you walk in our coach, you have basically there's no steps on the outside and it is 2 to get in the coach. We have a lower center of gravity on all the products that we build for Class Cs. It gives you, again, a better ride. It's lower overall height, right? I think we're exactly 11 feet, give or take, up to the top of the AC, which is phenomenal, okay? You won't have a lot of top heaviness, okay? You're not gonna roll in the corners as much. And I think that's a lot of times it goes unlooked when you walk into other brands. But recognize the fact that a lot of brands are a lot taller than our coaches. And that's why, right? So that's a huge thing, is that we don't have that extra step on the outside. And I think that gets overlooked a lot, actually. People get very hypnotized by what they see on the inside and what they think. But a lot of times it's stuff like this that it's the difference that makes the difference, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Hey, we got a question coming in about our roof. Let's talk about what type of roof technology is used on the Four Winds.
Okay, great question. So on the exterior, we use what's called TPO, and that's short for thermal polyolefin. What thermal polyolefin is, it's basically going to be a non-porous material. It's very pliable. You've got a 12-year warranty on it. It is also, the beauty of it is, it's the same stuff used on the Denver, Colorado airport and on all the modern day Walmarts, right? It's the same exact stuff. It's impermeable to any of the elements. It lasts forever, and it's 100% maintenance free. The material is, okay? You got to maintain your seams, of course, but the material itself is maintenance free. And it's also an acoustic reducer. I mean, because our roof is crowned, Steve. Mm-hmm. So when you have a crowned roof with this stuff, when rain hits it at nighttime, it's a lot quieter than if you have a flat roof, right? Like some motorhomes do. I'm not going to say names, but some motorhomes still build flat roofs. They do. So that's what I would say.
All right. And I do want to let people know that in the event you are thinking, why, this Four Winds, when we get back on the road and we are going to be traveling and you, I can't share my screen. I was going to show people, I was going to show people our website for hooking up with our coach link, which is a great resource for people. It's a great tool out there. Our Coach Link advisors are always there to help you. They will answer your questions. And, I guess one of the things people need to think about too, and I know you get it when you're on at the show, is what motorhome is right for me, what floor plan is right for me. And it's all about floor plan. And our Coach Link advisors can help guide you through that. So go ahead to thormotorcoach.com. You can scroll through all of the floor plans. You can find the specs, the features, anything that you want to know is on our website, because we don't have access to Adam's thoughts 24 hours a day. One more question before we go. Can you expand on details on the front cap construction against the competition?
Well, it depends on the model. I mean, we actually have 2 different front cab constructions, okay? 31 footer that you see right there, that's going to have a wraparound front cap. And that's going to be very, very similar to the actual competition. Okay. Now we have another way that we do it too, where they're all going to be front fiberglass caps, but this version here is the more expensive wraparound front cap, right? And the other version is going to have the seam on the side, where it's just the front is going to be the fiberglass cap. The sidewall will go to the edge of it. They're both great designs. They both work very well. And truthfully, now I think that, I mean, gosh, with this wraparound front cap, it's just, it's kind of the wave of the future. It looks good. It's designed right. And I mean, I know for the near future, we are not going to put a window in the front, just because I think that with the 4 Winds Chateau, it's just kind of takes away that name on the front and that nice clean design. But this is very, very similar to a lot of other brands.
And it is the best-selling Class C coach in the country. Adam, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. I appreciate it. And when we get shows going again, folks, and you are out in the Northeast, if you are able to go to Hershey, if that happens, let's cross your fingers, hope it does, and you have questions, by all means, find Adam and talk to him. Very approachable. I know you love talking to customers at shows. I mean, it's a great way to get a lot of feedback on a lot of our products and a lot of questions there. I think one more question came in.
Yeah.
Get it? Oh, yep. It says, thank you to everyone. Thank you, Kent, for watching. I know you've been involved in all of these watching. I appreciate it. Thanks for your time. ThorMotorCoach.com. If you have more questions, folks, and we will see you. We plan on doing more of these until we get things rolling, and we'll see you out at the shows. We'll see you online. We'll see you everywhere. Adam, have a great day, folks. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, Steve.